This week on Weekly News, we'll take a look at a new phone scam targeting students.
We'll also take a look at the State Science Fair.
This and more coming up on Weekly News. Please stay with us.
Central University, welcome to the Weekly News with David Emmons, Jennifer McMahan-Curliss, Jeremy Stout with sports, and Shonda Holmes, serving East Central, Ada, and the surrounding community. Recorded live from ECU Studios, this is the Weekly News.
Hello, I'm David Emmons.
And I'm Jennifer McMahan-Curliss. Welcome to this edition of Weekly News.
Plans to open a new restaurant in town went up in smoke recently. Grandpa's Social Barn, next door to the Grandpa's Catfish restaurant in Ada, burned down Easter weekend after a gas leak in the kitchen set the entire building ablaze. Fortunately, no one was injured. The Social Barn was to feature an all-you-can-eat buffet with live music from various local artists. The fire caused thousands of dollars worth of damage, and unfortunately, the building had not been insured. Currently, there are no plans to reopen. Last week, the Political Science Department at East Central University gave attention to a neighborhood that hasn't had any in at least 2 years. Reporting with more on this story is Brandy Robbins.
Just north of the welcome sign to Ada is a historical neighborhood called Hammond Heights. During the time of segregation, African Americans weren't allowed to live in city limits. They had to live in communities such as Hammond Heights. It wasn't until a few decades after desegregation, Ada accepted the families of Hammond Heights to live within the city. But that's all in the past. What's important is the condition of Hammond Heights now. Abandoned houses have become dangerous areas. Houses like this one have received complaints from the neighborhood. But for the city to do anything, there will be loads of paperwork. Not only are the houses in bad shape, but the streets are worse. As you can see here, what it looks like cattle guards is actually a drainage system. Not even 100 yards away is the recreation area for the neighborhood. Although it is a nice place to enjoy an afternoon, but some of the areas are defaced by graffiti. Last week, from March 28th to April 1st, Pi Sigma Alpha, the Political Science Honorees Society, was sponsoring a community service project in the Hammond Heights area. That week, they coordinated cleanup projects with sponsor Dr. Pappas.
Well, we started with cleaning up this particular lot right here, and we were mowing it, and there's a couple of dead trees that we're taking out. And then we've got several people from the neighborhood who've come and asked for help with their houses, people whose roofs were caved in, they need floors put in, we're going to paint a house, we're going to clean up brush out of their backyards and plant flowers and things like that. So if we have a success with this year's week of work, I think we'll do it again in the future. Probably.
Their group worked on 20 projects, and they hope to finish before the semester ends. Also, sometime soon, the city may spend close to $1 million in improvements. Reporting for the Weekly News, I'm Brandy Robbins.
A new telephone scam has surfaced in the Ada area. Several residents have already gotten phone calls from a company calling itself American Grant. College students are the primary targets of this scam. Students in both Ada and Stillwater reported receiving phone calls from people offering a $5,000 grant for a small down payment. The payment ranges from $50 to $250. The company's representatives say they cannot answer any questions until the person called confirms his or her bank account number. The best defense against this scam is to ask questions and be cautious. Most targets reported being hung up on when persistently demanding information. Remember, the United States government does not offer grants over the phone.
Governor Bill Anatebby and the Chickasaw Nation break ground for building a new cultural center west of Sulphur. The center will be located on 110 acres of rolling hills, woodlands, and streams. Plans for the center include more than 127,000 square feet of indoor and outdoor space. The center is designed to use the latest technology in showing the Chickasaw heritage. Ancient artifacts and natural outdoor spaces will be used in recreating the Chickasaw history. Anatebby says the center will remind the Chickasaws of their culture and heritage, as well as bring the tribal nation together as a people. The end of March marks the beginning of spring for most people, but for Oklahoma science students, it also marks the biggest science event of the year. Nick Eisen reports on the Oklahoma State Science Fair at ECU.
The State Science Fair began Thursday at ECU's Curra Dome. Middle and high school students from all over the state competed in science fair projects in 10 different categories. One student shared with us the process of how she got to the science fair.
How I got to state science fair was that I went to a regional science fair in Miami. It's like 30 minutes north of Grove, and I qualified for state by placing first in my category.
We talked to other students to find out how they feel about the science fair and more about their projects.
It's kind of given me a chance to explore new fields, maybe. This project here introduced me into like remote control and a little bit in aerodynamics.
I came up with my idea from reading Discover magazine, actually, talking to my sister. And the pain of acid rain is testing the effects of acid rain on plant growth.
Actually, it was a really good experience, and I think that even if students aren't going to participate in regional science fair and aren't actually going to compete, I still think that everyone should at least somehow do a science fair project.
It's a good experience to be able to see all the different projects and meet different people and see what they've learned and show off what you've learned, and it's just really fun.
Students aren't the only ones that think the science fair is a good experience.
It's a great opportunity. It gives kids a chance to ask the question why and find the answer for themselves.
Friday night featured the awards banquet in the Taft Cafeteria, where students were given awards by businesses and corporations for projects in specific fields such as aerospace, engineering, and marine biology. Awards ranged from $50 to $1,000. Following the banquet, students got to take it easy during the science fair sponsored dance. But the main event is the Junior Science Academy Awards ceremony, which was held on Saturday morning in the Dorothy Summers Auditorium. Students received awards for their projects in 10 categories. Teachers and schools also received awards as well. The Oklahoma State Science Fair is a great opportunity for students to get hands-on experience in the sciences. Reporting for the Weekly News, I'm Nick Isom.
Coming up, we'll take a look at teen pregnancy in Oklahoma. Stay with us. According to 2004 Oklahoma Vital Statistics, the Oklahoma teen birth rate decreased less than 1% between 2001 and 2002. The state's teen birth rate is currently 7% higher than the national average. Every day, 21 Oklahoma teenage girls have a baby. The majority of these children live in poverty and are twice as likely to be abused or neglected in comparison to children born to older mothers. Also, children born to teen mothers are more likely to do poorly in school and eventually drop out of high school. The task of lowering the teen birth rate in the U.S., which is the highest in the industrial world, is going to be difficult according to the book Whatever Happened to Childhood, The Problem of Teen Pregnancy in the United States. Girls born to teen mothers are 22% more likely to become teen mothers, while sons are 13% more likely to end up in jail. Currently, costs related to teen pregnancies such as criminal justice, foster care, and medical assistance cost taxpayers over $7 billion a year.
The OSU Extension Office in Ada will be hosting an outdoor classroom on April 19th for third graders in Pontotoc County. There will be several workshops and children will attend where they will learn about environmental issues. Jana Kelly, OSU Extension educator and county director, says the workshops are on everything from water quality to agriculture. The program is from 9 to 2 o'clock and will be located behind the Votech in Ada. The kids will have a great time, Kelly says.
East Central University offers several self-defense courses, but one class is a real bang. Amy Hughes has more on the story.
East Central University's continuing education program offers many different classes. However, one in particular is sure to be right on target.
It keeps you have a loaded firearm concealed, either on you or in your automobile. Now people are afraid to get out on the road. Seem like in travel, they're afraid for their own self-defense, for protect themselves, carjackings or anything else.
This class is available to Oklahoma residents ages 21 years and older. The enrollment center is located in room 114 at Fenton Hall. The cost is $70.
They spend about 2 hours on the range and rest of it's classroom time. They do not even have to ever shot a gun before to take the class. They'll learn everything they need to know in the class and don't need to do anything else. The first portion of the class is over the laws. The second portion of the classroom time is over safety.
Reporting for Weekly News, this is Amy Hughes.
The future is looking bright for ECU mass communications students interested in broadcasting. 9 students from the Mass Comm department attended the Oklahoma Association of Broadcasters and the Oklahoma Broadcast Education Association Conference in Tulsa on Tuesday. Other schools represented at the conference included Cameron University, Southeastern Oklahoma State University, and Oklahoma Baptist University, among others. Broadcasters from across the state spoke to college students about their careers and what to expect when it is time for students to enter the workplace. Representatives from Cox Radio, Clear Channel, KFOR TV in Oklahoma City, Team Radio in Ponca City, and other companies were also in attendance to speak to students during a luncheon. Former Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating spoke to the crowd after lunch. Students were able to see some of the new technologies that will be available to them in the future. 5 students from East Central received awards from OBEA entries made earlier this year.
With the number of writers growing every day, the chance of getting a piece published may seem far-fetched and almost impossible. So what actions must a writer take? Chad Hamilton takes a closer look.
What does it take to get your play performed? What stands in the way of having your film produced? How hard is it to have your script published? Thousands of writers have dreams of accomplishing one of these. We've taken this time to speak with Dr. Brett Jones of East Central University, who has accomplished all 3 of these tasks. We'd like to ask him, what does it take?
I write plays, novels, short stories, screenplays, radio shows. I write lyrics for songs. The only thing I don't do anymore, I wrote a play called Kindred, and I wrote it less than a week. But I'd been thinking about it for about a year. And it has to do with Native Americans. I'm a Creek tribe, and it was really dear to me to write about that. And it took less than a week, and it's the one that ended up getting a nice award from the 5 Civilized Tribes Museum. I have 2 published books. I have one that's supposed to come out this year, and then I just had a 4th one a few weeks ago that was accepted for publication. I'm not sure of the exact publication date. Write every day, write constantly. Get involved in creative writing classes, writing groups, get feedback, because the only way that you're going to learn how to do better is to write your material and get it to people and have them read it and have them tear it apart.
For many writers, getting published is a daunting task. But through hard work, Dr. Brett Jones has published in all 3 fields. This is inspiring to us all. Remember, hold on to your hopes and dreams. Reporting for Weekly News, I am Chad Hamilton.
Coming up in sports, we'll take a look at ECU men's and women's tennis. Please stay with us.
So Jeremy, what's new in sports this week?
Well, things have been going great in sports. Football teams have had cool weather all for their spring practices, and I bet you they've really enjoyed it. The East Central Tigers baseball team took on arch-rival Southeastern Savages on April the 2nd and 3rd. The Tigers split the win on Saturday's doubleheader, winning with a score of 4-2 and losing 2-1. The Tigers also lost Sunday's game 18-15. This put the Tigers' record to 2-3 in conference play. The Tigers will play again on April the 9th and 10th against the University of Central Oklahoma. Spring practice is well underway for the East Central University football team. Coming off a successful 6-4 campaign last year, the Tigers are looking forward to further improvement. East Central Tiger football team took the field for the first time since last fall. Under new head coach Tim McCarty, the Tigers went from a losing team to a winning team. The Tigers finished the 2004 season 6-4, beating ranked opponents like Tarleton State, Northeastern State, Eastern New Mexico, and West Texas A&M. The Tigers started their spring practices on Thursday, March the 24th. The Tigers will go through 3 weeks of practices and then gear up for their annual orange and black game. The Tigers will also scrimmage every Thursday during the 3-week period. Spring drills will consist of fundamentals, individual techniques, and offensive and defensive team training. Coach McCarty intends to use these practices to scout younger players and help veterans get ready for the next season. The Tigers lose 4 offensive starters and 4 defensive starters. Spring practices and scrimmages will be open to the public, so Tiger fans, come out and support your team. Reporting for Weekly News, I'm Jeremy Stout. The ECU women's tennis team encountered a minor setback in their winning streak. Last Tuesday, the Tigers were defeated by number 20 ranked Midwestern State University. ECU suffered a 2-7 loss. However, the Lady Tigers bounced back with a 5-1 win Friday over Cali College. The ECU women's tennis team also triumphed over North Central Texas Saturday at 6-2. The ECU women's tennis team gained their first ever Division II national ranking with the help of sophomore Dasha Saganchuk. Dasha sports an outstanding singles record of 34-2 and in doubles a record of 21-9. This past weekend, East Central University was the host of the Junior College Tennis Classic. The tournament brought in some of the top junior college tennis teams in the nation. The ECU men's team took on Collie County Community College. The Tigers cruised to a 6-1 victory. East Central started off strong with wins in both number 1 and number 2 doubles. The only slip-up of the day came in number 3 doubles. However, the Tigers were perfect in singles play. The win moved the Tigers to 12-8 for the season. Next up for the Tigers will be St. Mary's on April the 8th. Tupelo saddle bronc and bull rider Cord McCoy will be back in the saddle when rodeo season rolls back around this spring. Doctors released the cowboy on Wednesday following a near-fatal head injury. Cord suffered a serious accident at the Oklahoma State Fair Rodeo on September 25, 2004. The bronc rider won the IPRA All-Around Championship in January 2004 at the Ford Center in Oklahoma City. McCoy is in high spirits and began entering rodeos on Wednesday. However, Cord will don a new look this season. He'll be wearing a protective helmet to help eliminate further injuries. Coming up, Shonda will take a look at the ECU's campus ministries. Please stay with us.
There are many occupations that increase the likelihood of a person experiencing back pain. ADA employees are no exception. The Mayo Foundation for Education and Research states many professions not commonly thought of are susceptible to back pains and injuries. Occupations such as nursing, factory work, and even office jobs can increase vulnerability to back pain. Many factors can lead to increased back pain. Medline Plus reports 4 main reasons for work-related back pain, which include force, repetition, posture, and stress. The best way to avoid back pain and injury is to become physically fit, adjust the workplace in a manner where it is more comfortable, pay attention to posture, and reduce stress whenever possible. Spring has arrived in Oklahoma. Unfortunately, the season sometimes brings severe weather to this part of the country. Here's Vanessa Tidmore with tips on how to stay safe when violent weather strikes.
4 out of 5 East Central students agree. Oklahoma Springs mean one thing.
Tornadoes.
Tornadoes. Tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
Here, in the middle of Tornado Alley, the arrival of blue skies and spring rain signals the beginning of tornado season. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, peak tornado occurrence in the southern states is in March through May. While spring storms may be awe-inspiring, Oklahomans should keep in mind the warning signs of possible tornadic activity. Dark, often greenish sky, large hail, a wall cloud, a loud roar similar to a freight train. To keep safe at home during a tornado, follow these tips from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Go to a windowless interior room. Stay away from corners, they attract debris. Get under a piece of sturdy furniture and hold on. Use your arms to protect your head and neck. If in a mobile home, find other shelter. For the weekly news, this is Vanessa Tidmore.
On the campus of ECU, there's an alliance of Christian organizations that are making an impact on the campus. The Baptist College Ministry, the United Campus Ministries, and the Z-Tree are the 3 main campus ministries. One of the main outreaches of the Alliance is providing free lunch to students throughout the week. Weekly schedules include a free lunch on Monday at the Z-Tree and a free lunch Tuesday at the BCM. Wednesday nights feature 2 Bible studies, one at the Z-Tree at 7, and there's also Campus Connection at 8 o'clock. Thursday is a free lunch at the UCM, as well as music and Bible study Thursday night. According to Clay Wesley of the Z-Tree, the campus ministries are focused on building relationships instead of preaching at the students. The director of the UCM says the campus ministries are drawing more attention to students than ever, and there are more students and several events scheduled for the end of the school year. The BCM and the UCM are both located across from the University Center, while the Z-Tree is at 14th Street across from the building which houses Taft Cafeteria. East Central University prides itself on being a teacher's college and has for many years. The Education Department must meet certain national and state standards to continue to train the teachers of the tomorrow. With more on this story, here is Jarrod Morse.
Every 7 years, the National Council for Accreditation of Teacher Education, or NCATE, reviews education departments across the country to verify that national and state education standards are being met.
We have just completed review by NCATE of our teacher education programs on this campus. We have 18 different programs represented across the campus in all of the different schools, and those programs have all been deemed to be in compliance with national and state standards. With one exception, we have the school psychologist program currently under review with something called a rejoinder, where they have reviewed a program at the national level, and then we need to provide some additional information, and so we're still awaiting the results of that rejoinder, but we're expecting no problems to be in compliance with all of the national and state standards.
The NCATE review is made up of 2 stages. The first is written documentation describing in detail each area of study, such as early childhood, speech, and math education. Here's Dr. Osborne to tell us about the second stage of the review.
Then a team comes on site, and they meet with students, faculty, university administrators, and stakeholders to determine if what we said we were doing is actually what's going on. So there are really 2 pieces in there that we're looking at.
Reporting for the Weekly News, this is Morse.
East Central University offers full-time students the opportunity to study at many universities in the United States and overseas. A select membership program called the National Student Exchange is available to many universities like ECU. The program is one of the most affordable exchange programs, and students can choose from 171 U.S. campuses as well as 181 overseas campuses. A few universities students can choose from is University of Wisconsin, Northern Arizona University, and East Carolina universities. Students from universities like Bowling Green State University and the University of Idaho have exchanged to ECU. To qualify, students must be enrolled full-time, have a 2.5 GPA, or have letters of recommendation and be in good standing. Costs include housing, transportation, in-state tuition of host campus or ECU tuition, and an application fee of $65. Students can choose to attend the university of their choice for 1 semester, 1 year, or more. For more information on how to apply, contact the Student Activities Office located in McBride Gymnasium, room 108. The Pontotoc County 4-H Ambassador Program recently named its newest members. Mackenzie Bailey, Hannah Cochran, Chad Mays, LaShawn Oakley, and Garrett Thompson were selected as the new ambassadors for the county. The county ambassadors were chosen based on application and interviews. The 5 4-H ambassadors will have the opportunity to gain leadership skills and participate in leadership roles. Coming up, we'll take a look at how to plan for a successful summer vacation. Stay with us.
The summer months are a time of fun in the sun and taking much needed vacations. If vacations are not properly planned ahead of time, the dream getaway can turn into a stressful mess. VacationIdea.com gives a few tips on planning the perfect summer trip. 1, always confirm reservations for hotels, restaurants, transportation, and any pre-planned activities. 2, make sure to have plenty of money and emergency checks or credit cards. 3, pack as light as possible to avoid carrying around a lot of luggage. 4, make sure and keep a watch on the weather so clothing changes can be made if necessary. And 5, if driving, make sure to have detailed directions of how to get to your destination and plenty of gas in the vehicle. All of these tips and remembering the normal safety rules can help to make the summer months enjoyable and relaxing. Summer is just around the corner, and for most families that means spending a lot of time outdoors. With the high temperatures, dehydration is a serious problem, especially with small children. This condition results when there is an excessive loss of water from the body. Fortunately, there are physical signs that you can look for. Tory McGee tells us more.
Although the signs of dehydration vary in each individual, there are physical signs to watch for.
What we as the medical professionals look for are things like dizziness, lightheadedness, what we call skin turgor, which basically that means when you pull up an individual, touch their hand, we call it elasticity. What that basically means is if the skin does not fall back in its place very quickly or capillary refill is decreased, that's a little bit more than you probably need to know, but then we know that the fluid in the body is less than what it needs to be.
Other signs may include darkened urine, dry mouth, lack of tears, and in infants, the soft spot on their head may begin to sink in. So what are some ways to help your children stay hydrated?
Children, they should try to consume, you hear adults are supposed to consume 8 cups of water a day. For children, they say probably like 4 to 6 is more appropriate. And that you have to keep in mind, too, that kids get water from other sources from food, like cantaloupe, celery. Lots of fruits and vegetables have water in them, and you can kind of add that into their 4 to 6 cups of water a day.
Many of us have heard that active children may need Gatorade instead of water. But why is this?
If you've tasted your sweat before and running down your face, it tastes salty. And that's the sodium in our body. We have sodium and potassium, all kinds of minerals in our body. And when you sweat, when your body fluids come out, you're releasing sodium and potassium. And you have to have sodium and potassium in your body for your muscles. And when you lose all your sodium and potassium, that's when your muscles start cramping up. And that's one of the reasons when you have heat stroke, heat exhaustion, you have muscle cramps, because your body is depleted of that. So you need the water to cool you down. You need the Gatorade to replenish the potassium and the sodium that you've lost from sweating or vomiting or diarrhea.
A common misconception with Gatorade is that it should be diluted for small children.
I would never dilute any particular type of bottled anything until I would talk with your family physician with that. That child may be lacking in that particular electrolyte that's needed.
Always remember, no matter what the activity or weather conditions may be, any loss of fluids should be replaced. Reporting for the Weekly News, I'm Tory McGee.
Many homeowners have a tendency to over-fertilize their yards during the summer. It is important to remember fertilizing just before fall helps grass establish a healthy root base so it will continue to grow throughout the winter. A different fertilizer should be used in the spring than in the fall. In the spring, a mixture of 1 part nitrogen and 2 parts of both phosphorus and potassium should be used. September is the time to do major fertilizing. Then right before cold weather hits, follow it up with a booster shot of the same mix you used in the spring. That's all for this edition of Weekly News.
Thanks for watching.
The Weekly News is produced by mass communication students in the Communication Department at East Central University. Weekly News serves the East Central University campus. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of East Central University or the service provider.